Minute to post time, approaching the gate. They're at the post. Now they're moving into the gate. They're off and running.
Hello, Billy Ho here, and this is going to be the first Belmont preview, full-length horse-by-horse analysis preview show for the 2023 Belmont Stakes. Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Appreciate you joining me. All my Derby videos and Preakness videos did pretty well, so hopefully we'll and I did get the winner in the Preakness, so hopefully we can figure something out here for the Belmont. And so anyway, just real quick, the Belmont is run at 1.5 miles. It's the longest of the 3 Triple Crown races. 3-week break off the Preakness is well needed for this type of a race. 2 furlongs or 1/4 mile further than the Kentucky Derby. The main track at Belmont is it's nicknamed Big Sandy, and it's very good mixture of dirt and sand. Obviously, it plays fair. It's one of the safest tracks in the country. They have they're one of the lower percentages of deaths on track deaths, I guess, by horses and whatnot. So, but it does play fair, and it does lead to closers having a better chance to see victory. You know, unlike the Preakness, which is, you know, if you weren't on the lead, you weren't going to get there, kind of thing. Even in a slower pace, I think closers have a chance. So anyway, I still remember Real Quiet looked to have that Triple Crown wrapped up down the stretch, and then Victory Gallop nipped him at the wire. That seemed like the longest stretch run in the history of sports to me. It was just took forever, but it was a wild finish. So anyway, we are going to get into 11 or 12 horses today. Hopefully they all get in, so it'll be a very competitive race. It's looking like a really, really strong field. So what we're going to do is take a horse-by-horse look, trainers, and maybe just to give us a brief analysis of the horse and see where we land. Stick around because I'm going to have some of my top horses toward the end, and we're going to finish with the top 5. You know, why not? Everybody likes rankings, right? Lists and whatnot. So let's get it started. All right. And I just published this. This is a preview article. Like I said, it's just something for your reading pleasure. If you'd like to give it a look, I'll have some angles and some stats and stuff in here. It's just something for me personally to just kind of help me parse things out as far as the Belmont goes and getting my contenders in order and who's 50-50 and probables. I haven't really gotten into anything. I'll probably add to it this week. We still got 2 weeks to go, so you know we're not in any big hurry, but it's nice to start looking at it. So I hope you're ready to get engaged because we've got a lot of ground to cover. So I need to get started. So obviously subscribe and smash the like, all that kind of good stuff. So I guess we'll begin with Forte, scratched from the Kentucky Derby with a foot injury, sidelined for the Preakness. Due to the foot injury, 14-day layoff period, mandatory. So anyway, interested in the I was kind of interested in the ruling on Todd Pletcher in New York. Back in September, I don't know if you knew or not, but Forte won the Hopeful Stakes at Saratoga. And then he failed a post-race drug screen. But it was a non-steroid anti-inflammatory medication that they give horses a lot, but it was not legal. So he got like a 10-day suspension, which he is appealing, but obviously it's not going to affect the Belmont. So he'll have his horses there. But I just thought it was interesting. I thought, good God, what happens if Todd Pletcher's not at the Belmont? He's got like 9 horses in the race. But just kidding. But seriously, he's got 4, I think, at least. So anyway, he'll be there, and it was nothing like the Medina Spirit DQ for the anti-itch steroid cream. I don't know. It just that kind of stuff. I thought they came down way too hard on Baffert in Kentucky. I thought there was other things that in the works, like different agendas. But anyway, Pletcher will be there. And Forte did work out last Sunday, May 21st at Belmont, breezing 4 furlongs in 50:31. So we'll have to keep an eye on his status. But it wasn't a serious foot injury. It was just more bad timing. So, and where will Pletcher have his fitness is basically, is he going to be back up to where he was Florida Derby? So anyway, I lean toward the world-class trainer and his jockey Irad Ortiz. So also Blazing Sevens doesn't look like he's taking a crack, so he's likely out. We should see winner National Treasure off the big Preakness win where he got a 98 buyer. But he is set to breeze this weekend, probably tomorrow, maybe today. I'm not really sure, but Bob Baffert wants to see it. He said before he commits to the Belmont. So he wants to see if he's got the chops, I guess. Maybe something with Baffert, looking at the horse. He would probably have to really be it would have to be a lackluster effort, I think, for him not to bring this horse in, because I think he can improve even off of that Preakness race. And all he needs is a slight step up, and he's going to hit that, because you're looking at 101 buyer for this race. Maybe not even that, if it depends on what happens with the pace. But also, I should mention the other Baffert horses. The Arabian Lion, who won on the Preakness undercard in the Sir Barton, front-running horse, tends to run a little bit slower fractions on the lead than you would expect, but that could be good if it's allowed to set a slow pace. So it could be in a factor more ways than one as far as setting the pace and winning the race and whatnot. So that horse could be in, or it might be pointing toward other races. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. The new shooter that did spark my interest, and we're going to take a look at the Arcangelo. Impressive win in the Peter Pan Stakes at Belmont about 2 weeks ago. He broke his maiden in the previous start in March at the Gulfstream. But taking a look at the past performance here at the race, the number one horse is Arcangelo, takes a stalking position off the pace set by the favorite, the number 9 Bishop's Bay. And it's jockey Javier Castellano, who rode the Derby winner Mage, who will ride this horse, I do believe. He moved him up near the pace at the half-mile marker, made a far turn, third position, ready to pounce. And he got the jump on Bishop's Bay and takes the lead, but then the 9 came back, and it looked like he was going to take it back, but then Arcangelo dug in again and came out on top. So really good look at what coming off the pace looks like at the Belmont, I think. And it sure doesn't hurt having the Kentucky Derby winning jockey aboard, obviously. But he should offer some value, I would think. But after that, I want to talk a real quick hit show. I wondered if I had underestimated the horse in the Derby, and I kind of threw that number 1 post position out. But he took advantage of a really clean inside trip and then had a wide open running style. I'm showing you kind of just a brief snippet from the race where he just didn't have anybody around him in the second flight of horses for part of this race. Was in perfect position, but just didn't have enough speed to make a run at the wire. Mage was just too strong. So I don't think it was a totally inaccurate figuring by me, because he did finish 5th, but he held on. I mean, he held his ground pretty well. It was a solid race. It was definitely going to be a different pace in the Belmont, so that could favor him. So Brad Cox trained horse Manny Franco is up. So I'm going to have some interest in hit show. So stick around for that top 5 list. Red Route 1, solid closing 4th at the Preakness. The slower pace put him in kind of a bad spot to win the race, I think, but he kind of ran evenly the whole way. So I don't know if it sets up for the Belmont for him at all. He could get a slice, exotics type bomb, maybe if there's a faster pace this time around, because there are horses like King's Barnes and Angel of Empire who we're getting ready to talk about from the Derby. Like King's Barnes helped set an early fast pace, so could be the same here. Angel of Empire, who actually did come off the pace and closed pretty well at the Derby, and then skipped the Preakness, should be well placed here, probably as one of the top two choices, I think. This Brad Cox trained horse seemed to have the ability to run well on both fast or slow pace races, as I saw in his past performances. Flavian Pratt had him closing hard in the Derby, but just kind of ran out of time. The added distance, he might just be the one to beat. Uh, so I feel pretty good about Angel of Empire making a bounce back from the Derby. I think everybody was really high on him. But Kings Barnes is up next, who regressed in that Derby race with a 14th place finish. He ran his race, raced out to the early lead and set the pace, but proved to be too hot, I suppose. He was in pretty decent, still in good shape around the backstretch. But once they hit the down the stretch home, he was gassed out, and the jockey wisely kind of pulled him back as not to injure the animal and not to get in the way of other horses passing him, because when a horse is gassed like that, they are very susceptible to leg injuries and taking a bad step. So well done by the jock, Jose Ortiz, I believe. And I think he'll retain the mount. It's Todd Pletcher trained horse. So that's another one. But I don't know that it's going to be able to get the additional quarter mile, even though you'll probably get a slower pace. I just don't see the speed in Kings Barnes. And I didn't really see it in the Derby either, to be honest with you. Reincarnate also ran out front in the Derby, chasing those insane fractions. He didn't last very long at all. He was done by probably the mile marker. He's a horse that's tried all three different running styles, basically running, front running, stalker, closer types. He does his best running on the front end, and that doesn't really bode well for his chances here. He doesn't have Johnny V in the saddle, but he is back in the Baffert barn, which I think is a plus. No offense to Tim Yakteen, but it just seems like those last few weeks leading up to these big races, Yakteen is just not getting these horses ready. So anyway, back to Raised Cane is the next one I want to talk about briefly. Ben Colebrook is going to give this horse another shot. He might be pointing toward other races too. I don't know, but I think they want to give him one more last chance, I guess. The horse has the stamina dosage. 1.8 is the dosage if you pay attention to that stuff. And also back in the on the mother side, Lemon Drop Kid is in the blood as who sired his mother. So I don't really see him upsetting the field, but he could claim a piece if there is a pace meltdown. Another Todd Pletcher horse is Prove Worthy. The embarrassment of riches this year for Todd Pletcher is just unreal. He's a new shooter, Triple Crown, unraced at 2 and just 3 starts under his belt. He just broke his maiden, winning his first race opening weekend at Churchill Downs. He won a 6-figure maiden special race, ran at 1.25 miles. So that is definitely a bit longer. Usually those stakes type races in Atlanta, they're usually 1 1/16 or 1 1/8 at the most. So 1.25 miles is a pretty good stretch out. And he won going away, even though he did have a little bit of greenness to him as far as like pushing rivals out to the outside and not running evenly. But he did get clear by over 4 furlongs and won going away. So the distance looks pretty good, actually. But it definitely is a huge step up in class. So we'll keep Prove Worthy on our radar and see what kind of buzz he's getting as we get closer to the race. So up next, Kenny McPeak's closer, Sun Thunder, who's hoping Brian Hernandez can put him in the right spot to spring the upset. But I'm not feeling his chances are very good. It's just it has a few decent races, but it's really not on my radar. I just not just for time allotment's sake. I want to finish up with my horse of all horses, your favorite and mine too, Tapit Trice. Louis Saez aboard, should be back for the mount after the unfortunate spill aboard having a meltdown. I think he just had a minor leg injury. It wasn't, so he should be fine. So this is the Todd Pletcher horse I'm going to be hitching my Belmont wagon to. His strong body and closing style leads me to believe he'll have no issue getting the distance. And he shouldn't be stuck in a blistering pace like he did get in the Derby. That was just kind of unfortunate for him. He got too far behind. He was like 18th place or something like that, running dead last, and did close all the way up to like 7th, I think, which is pretty good. So he was able to rally some. So that's going to be my horse. I think he'll be up closer to the lead this time around. Louis will get him up there. There'll be less horses to contend with. And so hopefully that extra quarter mile, he'll get his big booty rolling faster this time around and win going away like my man Mo Donegal last year. So that's kind of the angle I'm taking, and a big gray horse on hopefully a great day. So anyway, I'm not going to leave you without the top 5. And coming in number 5, I do like Arcangelo. I think that Peter Pan Stakes was pretty impressive. Number 4, I'm putting Hit Show. Number 3 is going to be Forte. Still not totally convinced of the fitness yet. It's going to be upwards of 50-day layoff, I think. So that could be an issue. Angel of Empire is going to be number 2. And of course, number 1 is Tapit Trice. I just finished talking about him. Leave a comment below. Give me your top 5. Maybe you have ideas on an exacta, or who you just like to win right now. We're still in the early stages. We still, like I said, 2 more weeks to go. So keep an eye out for more Belmont news and updates as we go along. And best of luck this weekend if you're playing the ponies. We got the Met Mile. We got some stuff going on Memorial Day out at Santa Anita, Hollywood Gold Cup, and Met Mile is the further down the road, actually. That's coming up June 10th. My apologies. But we do have the Hollywood Gold Cup and some other things going on this weekend, big stakes races wise. So best of luck, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.